Tell me about you. How did you come to learn about circadian health and such?
So that part of the puzzle came in at around end of 24 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Up until then, I knew how important the sun was in terms of vitamin D, and I was connecting with the sunrise every day because I was following Dr. Courtney Hunt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she was kind of my inspiration, even though I find her a little bit hard to understand sometimes. She's quite
Uh-huh.
cryptic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got the whole message about the sunrise and vitamin D is important, especially I've got an autoimmune issue. So vitamin D is actually really important for
Yeah.
autoimmune diseases. Yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
always knew that the sun was important, but I didn't delve into the biology of the whole circadian health, and I didn't understand it, and I'm still trying to understand it all.
Yeah.
Oh, it just every day there's something new to learn.
I know.
And you just got to find the right teachers too, because a lot of them are hard to understand as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, so I realized how important the light component is in overall health. And now I find that when I'm coaching, the first thing that I actually do say is, so tell me about your light environment before I
Yeah.
even talk about diet now, because
Yeah.
yeah. And, I mean, diet's important too, but yeah, as you know, I'm sure you'll, elaborate a bit more on that too today. Yeah, so that's how I came across. So my first teachers were Dr. Jack Cruz, and then I heard him on Dr. Max Goldhain's podcasts.
Uh-huh.
And so then I found Dr. Max easier to understand. So then
Yeah.
I followed him more than Dr. Jack Cruz. And then from there, you find other people,
Yeah.
from there
It's
on. And then
fun.
I think that's how we sort of came across each other too, was from the whole
Yeah.
light environment side.
So you do a lot of coaching of clients for
Mostly autoimmune. Yeah,
Okay.
people with autoimmune. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no, it's good.
Very
I'm also like a meditation teacher, so I work on the nervous system, and that's important as well. And yeah, so it's
Lovely.
fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you're a menopause coach.
Correct. Yeah.
And before we get into the whole menopause coach and how you actually work with your clients, what inspired you to become a menopause coach?
Yeah. So, gosh, I have the BRCA gene mutation.
Okay.
And so at the age of 38, I started my process of all the prophylactic surgeries. So I had my breasts removed and reconstructed, and then I had a full hysterectomy, oophorectomy.
Wow.
And so I went from someone who was very emotionally stable my whole life. I hardly had like any PMS ever, to my mental health just went down the drain. And I would go to my doctor, he was a very well-respected gynecologist here. He delivered my babies. We had like a really genuinely, like a genuine relationship. I've known him for, 15 years before I even had kids, maybe. And he's just like, well, you went through surgical menopause. Like, this is just kind of how it is. And I refused to accept that. And so I began just really looking at my hormone replacement therapy. I was on estrogen, but I was on Premarin, and I was on testosterone, which I'm still on. But I first just started fiddling, like, okay, well, maybe I need to change to a different type of estrogen. And so I changed to a different type of estrogen, and that helped. But then I still was like, I didn't have the horrible rage that I had previously once I changed the estrogen, but I didn't realize it was anxiety until it was gone, because I'd never had anxiety in my entire life. So I didn't really know that that's what it was. but I started researching progesterone, and I was asking, oh, can you put me on progesterone? I really want to try progesterone. I still don't feel like myself. And he's like, well, you don't have a uterus. You don't need progesterone. And I was like, no, but like, I've been reading this art, please, like, I need progesterone. I need progesterone. And so finally I was able to get on progesterone. And within 3 days, my anxiety was gone. And I didn't realize it was anxiety. I didn't even realize that it was there until it was gone, kind of. It was like this buzzing sensation that I had from the crown of my head through the top of my shoulders. And once it was gone, that's when I was like, oh, that sensation that I'd been living with is gone. Wow. And I just immediately, my intuition was just like, oh, that's your nervous system. My brain and my nervous system. So, yeah. So from there, I just thought, well, I had another really big moment even before I started taking the progesterone. I was crying to my then husband about how I just, I didn't feel like myself, and was I ever going to feel like myself again? And I just realized like how much I had changed from who I once was so quickly. And it was all due to hormones, and how I was suffering from this mental health crisis, all because of hormones. And I just realized, gosh, how many women of all ages, menstruating or not, are suffering really severe mental health issues because of hormones, specifically because of hormones. And they go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, here, take some Prozac. Not like, oh, let's look at your hormones. Like, let's look at, right? It's all just like, oh, okay, well, here's your Prozac, here's your Wellbutrin, here's your whatever. And so I just thought, gosh, like, if this is doing this to me, what is it doing to all of these other women? And I had a lot more compassion for women that had PMS, because I'd never had it before. So, I mean, I just started learning and deep diving and trying to help myself. And I was an elementary school teacher for 20 years, which I have a degree in psychology, and I've always been really into, I love to serve people and help people and teach people. And so I thought, gosh, there's so much here, and I've uncovered so much in my own process, and I felt so alone for so long that, I really have something to offer. All of the suffering that I endured, it can't just be in vain.
Yeah.
So that's,
wow. Yeah. So like literally overnight, you felt like a different person.
Yeah. It was interesting. One of them, I mean, there were so many like these moments, these vignettes kind of in my mind of the different parts of my process. But I remember, as I said before, I never really had PMS. And after I had my ovaries removed, I started getting PMS, and it was cyclical. It was cyclical with the moon. And so it used to be that I would menstruate with the moon. And so I already had that awareness of like, oh, this is fun. I menstruate with the moon, blah, blah, blah. And then I wasn't menstruating, but I was getting horrible PMS in that cycle with the moon. And I was like, this is insane. How am I cycling? How am I having this explosive emotional cycle and I'm not menstruating?
That's crazy.
And getting online and being like, is it like, just like, did the witches, like, is this something that they said, like, witches back in the day? Like, I don't know. No, nothing anywhere was really giving me any, but it was very noticeable to me. Like, I was still cycling. And now as I know more, I'm like, yeah, we're all cycling. We're cycling with the sun, right? We're cycling with the moon, not just women, but men. Like, we are connected to nature. We should be a lot more connected to nature, but, inherently we are connected to nature.
Let's talk more about that. So you're very different to other menopause coaches because I've noticed that you are, well, you're wearing the blue blocking glasses too, so you're so I would love to talk more about like circadian health and the importance of circadian health and our hormones and why it's important during perimenopause and menopause to be aware of it. And yeah, so if you could go deeper into that, I'd love that.
Yeah, so like I said before, I really started just by really trying to hone in my hormone replacement therapy, which I'm very grateful for. And then during COVID, during COVID, I decided I wanted to learn about Bitcoin. And I
Okay.
joined these Bitcoin rooms on Clubhouse.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse.
No.
So Clubhouse, it's an app that you can get on, and people start these chat rooms, but it's just audio, no video.
Okay.
And then and you can join these chat rooms, and then there's like a stage, and so the person who opens the room, they're on stage, and they can call people up on the stage for questions, or you can join in the conversation. So in those, and I would just go on there and listen. Right. So I would just listen and I would write down like, what's that? And I'd write that down. And what's this? And then later I'd go back on the internet and I just research and teach myself, right? What all these like super Bitcoin people were talking about. And in that room was Jack Cruz.
Okay.
So, they're like, oh, Uncle Jack, blah, blah, blah. And he would say, whatever. He's a strong personality. So he stood out to me. And then one day I went on to Clubhouse and he had his own room. So I decided to go in his room.
Okay.
There were just very few people in the room. And so I was able to get on stage and talk and ask him. And so I asked him, like, I told him, I went through surgical menopause. I'm like crying. As
Oh, wow. That's great.
Like, what would you tell me to do? And he's like, well, first of all, you never should have gotten that surgery, which now, knowing what I know now, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have, but that's okay. Because
look where you are.
We're making lemonade.
You're spreading the word differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to improve your redox. You need to improve your redox and move away from San Diego. And blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, redox, what's that? Anyway, but that's kind of how I started really getting into the circadian. And so I dedicated myself through kind of this whole process. I've realized if I really want to change things in my life, I need to do them slowly. I can't be like, okay, day one, I'm going to work out and I'm going to eat and I'm going to. So as I started learning all about circadian health, and it just makes complete sense to me, I was like, okay, like I'm going to do this, and I'm going to dedicate myself to just my light environment because I want to do it right. And so I had been wearing like blue light blocking glasses, but that were like the ones that really aren't really blocking anything. I quit my teaching career and I went and became a certified life coach. And then I went and I'm certified in applied quantum biology and started just building my toolbox so that I could not only, because I'm doing it for me too. So it's so fun to be like, okay, I want to really be like a living example of the possibilities of how you can go from feeling so horrible to feeling better than I've ever felt. I even look at pictures of myself and just, I feel like I shine in this different way than I ever did when I was younger. So it's really interesting. And I have my ex-husband, he was like, it's so funny. I was looking at pictures of us the other day from, when we were dating and we were in our early 30s. And he's like, and we look better now. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's because we're so much more aligned with the way our body's supposed to work,
Well, I'm 44 and I don't feel like I'm going through any perimenopause. I don't even know what I mean, I know what to expect because I'm seeing it around me. Like I'm seeing my friends, they're always talking about how they're not sleeping at night, they're getting hot flashes. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like the worst time of my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, have we normalized something that shouldn't be common?
100%. Yeah, that's one of like my big things is just because like common and normal are not synonyms.
Mm.
And yeah, it is, it's become common for women to have a lot of these perimenopause symptoms a lot more intense and a lot earlier, but that is
Mm.
not normal.
Okay. So what do you think's causing this?
It's our modern life. It's our disconnect from nature. It's our dysregulated nervous system. It's 100% all of the artificial blue light and the lack of sunlight on our skin. It's being in a constant state of burning carbs for fuel and instead of burning fat for fuel. All of the stress that we're under, all of the non-native EMFs. It's the environment that we live in and that this modern world that we've created for ourselves.
So then what do we do? A lot of people will say, well, this is my life. Like I can't quit my job.
Right.
Like,
So, I mean, it's the way I've learned to frame it for myself is that you make a choice to be devoted
mm-hmm.
to yourself and your health.
Okay.
It's not discipline. It's devotion. And in my brain and in my, traumas or my patterns in my programming, for me, discipline sounds harsh and it sounds consequential and it sounds like a black and white, whereas devotion is so much more loving and compassionate, and it's like a warm
Softened.
hug.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
see
much
that.
more soft, right?
Yeah.
You devote yourself, and maybe you do it. Maybe you're like me, where you realize after all these years, I just need to devote myself to one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know so much, that can be so overwhelming. So how do we just find a place to begin and devote ourselves to that one thing instead of trying to pile it all on at the same time, getting overwhelmed and then not being able to follow through?
To do anything after that. You
Mm-hmm.
wonder, yeah. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
good advice. How does trauma and stress, well, you mentioned stress, but how does trauma come into this?
So, gosh, in so many ways. I mean, the first thing that just comes to my head that I see so much as clients is that it creates these patterns that get in the way of reaching our goals.
Okay.
So one of the pillars of my coaching, so I have, the education and self-advocacy pillar, which is all about how can we educate you about what's going on in your body? How do we help you advocate for yourself so that you can get that care that you need that's within the modern healthcare system? And then the other pillar is all the lifestyle tools. And the third pillar is what's called emotional mastery. And so how do we get you and your patterning out of the way so that you can actually devote yourself to yourself and reach the goals that you want to reach?
And is this all online? Is this a course?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's I do one-on-one coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I do some in-person groups here and there, and I'm actually launching a metabolic freedom course at the end of the month. But yeah, the majority of it is one-on-one coaching online.
Okay. So if I was to come to you and I'm experiencing, all these symptoms, and I'm feeling overwhelmed, what would be the first thing you would probably say to me to change in my lifestyle?
That's it. I would actually put it back on you and say, in these 3 pillars of my program, where do you want to start?
Okay.
What's your entry point?
Okay.
Because for some people, the lifestyle, it just depends on the person, right? They're like, you know what? I really want to get into, my emotions and my reactions and my grief. There's so much grief that can arise during this time. And so they want to deal with their grief, or they want to deal with the way that their relationships are changing, or maybe they're like, I want to get on hormone replacement therapy, but I don't know who to go to and I don't know what to take and what do I do? And so we educate them, and we help find, do they want to do telehealth? Do they want to, let's look online, let's find you a provider in your area that's educated. So I really let them lead. And then for lifestyle too, we have to really do an inventory of what is your lifestyle now and where do you feel that you can make the most changes. Do you want to start with like turning your Wi-Fi off at night? Do you want to start with your light environment? To me, light environment seems really low-hanging fruit. Are you willing to go out to dinner with your friends wearing your dorky glasses? Some people think they're cool. A lot of young people come up to me and they're like, I like your glasses. Now people kind of understand what it was. But before, people thought it was like some fashion statement I was trying to make.
Yeah, the 70s look.
So, it's
all about empowering, hey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where do they want to start?
Yeah. And taking healing into your own hands.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of like help navigate them. Is that what's happening?
100%. And where can we find some wins? Like, let's set ourselves up for some of, like I said, that low hanging fruit so that you can get some win under your belt and you can feel some confidence and really, kind of any of those entry points will give you results in one way or another. For example, I had this really great session with a client. She was having a lot of hot flashes and not being able to sleep. And somehow within our conversation, we started talking about this business that she had just recently closed down. And we started talking, and with it, as she was explaining to me this relationship that she had with this business, she, in the middle of our conversation, had this really intense hot flash where she was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a hot flash right now. And I was able to see the relationship between the story she had created in her head about what that business meant about her and the hot flash. Because in that story, she was creating a big cortisol hit that created a hot flash. And so I let her, we wrapped up that part of the conversation. I said, hey, I noticed that during this intense part of the conversation, you got a hot flash. Do you see that correlation there? And she was just like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So then we did some coaching around, okay, well, let's look at the story that you're creating about what this means about you and how that is stressing you out and creating hot flashes.
Wow,
and
that's beautiful.
It was great. It was so great.
So how do you feel about coffee then?
I think everybody's a N of one, right? So if, depends on your use of coffee too. I've had a client who drank coffee all day. We got her to stop drinking coffee and she stopped having hot flashes. I drink coffee. I don't get hot flashes.
Okay.
I don't drink a lot, but I've gone through periods where I do and I don't. So, but it's a good place to start, I think, for sure, right? Because we're looking at that just in general, whether you're having hot flashes or not. when you're looking at that cortisol, and we're looking at the stabilization of our blood sugar, coffee's again a good entry point.
Mm-hmm.
And for some, it's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's a lot more to coffee than just, it's the social part. It's an emotional thing, it's a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to break.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. Could we go back? You mentioned that you started taking progesterone. Was it a synthetic or bioidentical?
It's bioidentical, so everything that I'm taking is bioidentical.
Okay.
When I first started, I was on Premarin, which is not bioidentical. Yes, so I'm taking progesterone.
So you're still taking it?
I still take it.
So do you do like regular blood tests? Is it a blood test that you do, or is there another way you test your hormones?
I test mine through my blood.
Okay. And you do that regularly, or?
I do it about every 6 months.
Okay. And are you finding like your progesterone levels are low, or you just feel like you feel better on?
So they were low.
Okay.
They were very low before I began. And when I first started, when I got that immediate relief, I was just on 100 milligrams. And then I've since increased to 200.
Okay.
And there's a ratio that is ideal between your progesterone and your estrogen.
So are you also taking estrogen as well?
I take estrogen as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I take 2 milligrams oral estrogen and 200 of progesterone. I tried to do the patch, but for some reason, my skin, I would get a rash everywhere that I put it, even when I tried like generic, and so I just take it orally.
Is it something that you think most women would need to take? See, I don't know much about it. That's what I'm asking.
It just really depends. There are women who've gone through surgical menopause like I have, and they don't take any hormones.
Okay.
And, I think it's really, again, it's an N of one. It really just depends on your lifestyle and your genetics. Some women can't take progesterone, for example. Their genes and the way that they metabolize it just doesn't work for them. So it's very nuanced. And that's can be part of the challenge when women are trying to figure out hormone replacement therapy. Is it takes some time and it takes some trial and error to see what works for you and how you feel. So, I really feel that's where I feel that if you want the best results with your hormone replacement therapy, starting with your mitochondrial health is really important. Because if you have a really strong foundation in your health, right, which is your mitochondria, your mitochondria aren't functioning, nothing's going to function as optimally as it could otherwise. So get that foundation solid and then build on top of that.
Okay. So any final thoughts that you'd like to share with women who are currently going through menopause and are suffering, or women like me who are approaching menopause?
Gosh, there's so much to say. If you're approaching, don't be scared. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to suffer. Everyone is different. There are so many resources out there. And while it can be overwhelming, because there's a lot of resources out there, right? Pick an entry point. Don't get stuck. So many women will say, "Oh, I read this book and I read that book and I listened to this podcast and I do this and I'm part of this," but they aren't actually taking action. So when they come to me, it's their chance to be like, "Okay, let's quiet the noise. Let's pick a focus and let's take an action. Just actually take action in one of these 3 arenas." So there's a lot. You're not alone. and more people are talking about it, and you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to suffer at all, especially if you can devote yourself to your health.
Mm-hmm.
And don't wait. Don't wait until you start getting symptoms to devote yourself to your health. If you're 30 years old, if you're 25 years old, do these things now. Devote yourself to your health now. Instead of waiting until you're desperate, you've overscheduled your life, you've underscheduled your self-care, and you're just desperate and your back's against the wall. Don't wait.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And if you are already in perimenopause or in menopause, I'd say one of the most important things that you can do for yourself is really sit and allow yourself the opportunity to grieve the woman you once were, appreciate how amazing that version of you is that has brought you to the point you are now, so that you can really embrace the magic of where you're going. Because I see all the women who really allow themselves to grieve, like, you know, really say like, okay, like I'm entering a new era of my life, and no, I don't look the same, and I don't think the same, and the way I used to live my life isn't, you know, the way I move through the world is not the same as it used to be. And that's okay, because I'm stepping into something even better. It really is even better, as long as you allow yourself that process to grieve. I think a lot of us think that grieving is just about like someone dies and you're sad. It's like, no, anytime that something you thought would be is not, or something that was once is no longer, that's grief. And that's such an important part of emotional health, is allowing yourself to acknowledge those losses, because they happen pretty much every day.
Wow, thank you. That was so, like, I feel so much better about it. Thank you. I thought we were going to end there, but I actually have one more question. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
In what way?
So if you were to go onto your Instagram, for example, who would be one of the first people you'd look up for inspiration?
I really love Carrie Bennett.
Okay, yeah.
I also listen to Dr. Hunt and Jack Cruz, and gosh, there's so many. It's like my kids are like oh, Mom, turn off your podcast. I'm always listening to something, and like I really make an effort when I go on my walks, like no music, no podcast, just think, because I take in so much information, and then I realize if I don't shut it off, like when I shut it off on my walk, it's like I actually can process it and not make it my own, because it's not my own, but like explain, I don't know, just like process it and integrate it into my brain. But who else? There's so many. There's Dr. She's an MIT doctor, Alexis.
Oh, yes.
Oh. She's awesome.
I forgot her name too.
Here, I'll look her up right now.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I'm making my way reading through all the different books. I got to meet Dr. Gerald Pollack last year, which was
wow.
Yeah. I really love Veda Austin and all of her studies with water.
Yes.
Dr. Edith, who does like she was worked with the kids that were part of the telepathy tapes and does the blindfold vision. She's
I know her.
Edith? Yeah, Edith, Dr. Edith.
Okay, I'll look her up.
Who else?
What about books?
Let's see, like Body Electric. I recently read Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind, because so like my recent upgrade, life
Yes.
upgrade has been, so I spent, 1 year I spent just dedicating myself to my light environment. And then last year I dedicated myself to learning to switch between burning fat and burning carbs or glucose for fuel. And
Okay.
so I do like I'm in ketosis the majority of the week, and then on the weekends I'm not. Um, so I love that book, just all the science behind that, which, that's inspired me to do my metabolic freedom, I'm calling it, group class.
When's that
Uh,
start?
that starts on the 23rd of
23rd
March.
of
Yeah.
March. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do people hook up to this?
So the easiest way will be to go on Instagram or on the website too. I'll have it on there.
Okay.
Um, and so it's just a 5-week course where I teach you how to monitor your ketones and your glucose and how to eat in a way that you can switch into ketosis. And then with the foundations of circadian health, and we'll just mostly do light environment and then coaching, right? So really talking about what are some of the tools that you can use. So we'll use a different coaching tool each week to help you get out of your own way. Right? So
Sounds
it's really
amazing. And is it a group event? Like,
group.
yeah, group?
So it'll be an online Zoom. It'll be Monday nights at 7. Will be the coaching calls.
Okay. And will they be recorded? I mean, not really, hey, because it's interactive.
Yeah, so I won't record them.
Okay. I'm just
But
thinking about time difference as well.
Yeah. I'm hoping to, I did a beta, and so this is my first like official, and I'm thinking I will run it at least twice a year.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right,
because
cool.
I mean, I lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, which I didn't really
Wow.
think that wasn't really the point.
Yes. Yeah,
It was
got
me
you.
being
Yeah.
like, this is another way that I can support my hormones and get my leptin down. So my leptin
Yes.
was high. So I finally checked my leptin and it was high. And so I was like, okay. So I started doing Jack Cruise's leptin reset protocol. And it went down a little. And then I started doing, metabolic flexibility. And now I'm within a healthy range and I lost 20 pounds and I feel great. I don't have afternoon crashes. I was always hypoglycemic. I'm not hypoglycemic anymore, which is like, I never thought that was something that would be possible for me. And it's
Incredible.
fun because I've been able to inspire some, my ex. I've been able to inspire some of my friends. My mom's getting on board. My ex-mother-in-law, they've been like seeing me go through my process. And so, yeah, it's been really fun to inspire.
And it was a gradual process, right? It wasn't.
So I started in January, and by June, I'd probably lost like 15 pounds. And then by around August, I'd lost 20. And I've just maintained that
Yeah.
20. And now this year, I'm devoting myself to starting to lift weights more. Because I would just, eat properly, and walking was my thing, walking and surfing. So like it's either I go for a morning walk, if I can't, or I surf. If I can surf, I surf first and walking second. And now I'm like, okay, in the afternoon, I'll start doing some weightlifting. So I'm adding that in to just
Nice.
keep it going, one thing at a time.
We're all learning, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think, you know what? It was 1 year light, the next year metabolism, and this year weightlifting, and that's perfectly fine because if I tried to do them all in the same year, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it's okay that I'm taking my time. I'm not in a rush, and I love that. I love that about just like like I said, that grieving, part of that grieving process for me was, Joanna, you don't move through the world the same way that you used to, and that's okay. Take your time. You don't have to like rush all the time, and you don't have to go to every social event, and you don't have to be everybody's therapist, and you don't, and like, you can just do one lifestyle change at a time and actually stick to it.
So you said that you quit teaching, but you haven't quit teaching.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have a bigger classroom now too.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a different way of teaching, hey? Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Amazing. And isn't it funny how we go through certain things in our lives and they're dark moments, and then they lead to these other beautiful experiences in your life, hey?
Yeah. If there's any purpose in life, I think that's it, right? Because I've always had a kind of weird opinion about the whole, like, what's your life's purpose? I get in these like women's groups and everyone's like, okay, let's go around and talk about what your purpose is. And I would say things like, I find comfort in the idea that there is no purpose. We're just small, teeny specks in this big cosmos, and we're not that important.
Oh. But look at what you're doing, how important it is, and the message you've just sent. Just in this conversation, you're going to change some women's lives.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, you've changed mine, and you've changed my perspective to menopause, and I'm grateful for everything you share, and I'm grateful for your time today too. And
thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
And I hope we meet one day.
I know. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. Well, you're in California, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you might come to Sydney.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want to go surf in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. That's one thing I would never do here.
Yeah?
I don't have the guts. I have to maybe work on it. There's too many sharks.
Yeah, well, come here.
No sharks? You don't see any sharks there?
I've seen a shark here once.
Okay.
There's like little tiny reef sharks that don't do anything, but I saw a great white once. I forced my son, he was maybe like 8 years old at the time, and he's didn't want to go out. And I'm like, come on, you can do it. Let's go, get out there. And I get him out there, and he catches a couple waves, and then he was scared. He's like, Mom, I hate you. Like, I want to go in. And I'm like, no, you got this, you got this. And then I look, and right behind him, a great white went, like, breached a baby.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, okay, let's go in.
Oh, no.
Let's go in. But that's the only time in 25 years.
Wow. Hey, tell me, do you surf in the winter time too?
I do, yeah.
Wow. Okay, you've embraced it all.
Which this year, the winter has been so mild, the water has stayed in the 60s. It's been very interesting. Everyone's talking, you paddle out and everyone's like, oh my gosh, how's it going? The water's it's so unusually warm.
Same here though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that's why we have so much shark activity too. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, someone else was saying that in Florida, they were talking about how there's so many more sharks in Montauk because they don't allow the fishing that they used to there. And so there's a lot more of some certain fish that's bringing all of the sharks to shore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we are swimming in their environment, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah.
They really don't want to eat us. Sometimes go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes I selfishly am like, gosh, if we got a shark attack there, some of these people would go away.
Well, that's what happened to the beach that we go to. They found a shark in the area, so there's less people going to the beach now. Everyone's scared.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing to say. Watch, I'll be the one that gets eaten.
No, you'll be fine. Well, I think you got some sunshine, I noticed before, so enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you.
I really
And I
appreciate
really
it.
enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Me too. Bye.